After we finished a bunch of reps of going through that yard switching up and back, dealing with the communication of establishing a double check once you got to the switch, making sure that the engineer knows exactly what track that is perfectly lined for, bringing it back, coming to a safety stop, reconnecting the cars, making sure that equipment was secure before you connected the cars, the proper way to bring an engineer back up to the couple to make sure it's linked, to stretch it back out. Basically, you're connecting all the dots of all the things that you had been doing for the entire last 2 weeks. So we did finish that up and then went to lunch. After we went to lunch, we came back and we moved into e-learning. E-learning, again, that 2-hour glorified study hall. Went over what we were going to be covering in the lecture. The lecture for this day is review. So all I did during the e-learning there was take the practice test. Both 1 and 2 were both out at the time. So I ran through those a couple of times. Ran through 3 of each, which is 50 questions apiece, comes out to 300 questions. And essentially made sure that if there were any questions that I were getting wrong, I would basically take a picture of them and bring them up in class so that I could ask and get the correct answer so that I had them. We also did IDs, and that was them taking your railroad picture so that they can put it on your Norfolk Southern ID for when you complete your test. They'll hand you your ID on the way out. So that was everything in school. And then once we were finished out there, you had to go home. And when we got back to the hotel, the requirement for the evening was the operating rules topic review. So in question mark, there is a topic review on the entire thing so you can practice test it. There's 47 questions. And then once you feel comfortable with that, you'll move into the Employee Resource Center and take the one that counts. And again, you need to get over a 90% in there for it to be counted as passed. So you finish that up. And then the suggestion for the evening is to take the practice signals exam again, and then take the practice exam number 2, because that's where you're going to start getting some of those newer questions. Practice exam 1, I feel like I have covered now. Practice exam 2, I'm getting a couple of questions I haven't seen before. So that's the big thing there. One thing I will suggest when you guys are learning signals, regardless of what system you're on, redo the e-learning for signals before you start looking at that card and trying to decipher between aspects and names and the definitions or the indications that are on the back. Understanding why a signal is the signal that it is will help you understand way more than trying to memorize that card. If you just try to memorize that card, you're gonna have a really, really hard time. And I know that because I did it for 4 days before I decided, oh, let me look at this e-learning again. And now things are starting to move. I went from missing like 25 questions of the 168 that I was taking down to missing like 4. So, and also those